Thank you. Come on up here, Sam. Great to meet you all. We might get started. We thought today we'd talk about, well, we'll tell you a little bit about our background so that you can understand a little bit about how we've ended up in the roles that we've ended up in. My career path is absolutely not linear at all. It's kind of a little bit unconventional. So we'll introduce ourselves, and then we thought we'd talk a little bit about just getting you thinking about preparing your professional branding tools as you approach career transition. And so we'll cover a bit of that today and touch on the importance of LinkedIn if you're not on it already. And we'll go from there. We've probably got way more to cover than the time allowed, so we might speed up in different areas as well so that we can finish in time to give you Q&A. So LinkedIn and professional branding we'll cover off on today. All the cool photos you see in this slide, these are all of our real people that work at Micron here in Lehigh as well, which I wanted to point out to you. Thanks, Russell. So I already talked about the things that we're going to cover. We'll do introductions, and then we'll talk about some branding basics, the things to have at the top of your mind as you're thinking about how you're going to brand and market your talent. I really want to cover on, if you're going to doze off at all today, wake up when I talk about strategic optimization. This is really critical as you enter your job search. It allows you to be purposeful and strategic about your job search, right? There's nothing practical about throwing spaghetti on the wall and applying for 100 different jobs. We really want you to be purposeful and strategically optimize the branding and marketing tools that you're shaping, right? Keywords matter. And then we're going to do a life hack if we've got time. So before we do, thanks, Russell. How should I do this? Should I just do that?
Yeah,
or,
just say next slide.
I'm going to hand over to Sam for a minute. He's going to talk about a pretty major change that our site's going through at the moment, and then we'll do some introductions.
Thanks, Vanessa. So as Vanessa said, we're from Micron, and I don't know if you know much about Micron. Micron is the largest semiconductor manufacturer. We make primarily memory. So if you got a cell phone, anybody have a cell phone? Figured you did. All right. The DRAM that's inside there is actually Micron just released a brand new version of that, which is caps me out. High tech, highest power, or lowest power consumption, highest speed. It's an incredible product. Micron is a great company. They've been around since 1978. 1978, it was founded up in Boise, Idaho. And so yesterday was our 43rd birthday to Micron. And they also last week announced their fiscal earnings. So for the year, they posted a $27.3 billion revenue. So there's a lot of money in semiconductors, which is pretty amazing thinking that a chip costs about $2. So what that tells you is we make a lot of little chips. So on the Micron side, we've had a great run, and we originally started our site out here as a Micron site, and then it became a joint venture. Micron ponied up this site out here, and Intel ponied up some money, and together they joined together and they started making a NAND flash memory. So memory cards, your SD drives, that's what we started making. A couple years ago, we switched and we started making this product called 3D Crosspoint. Octane is what Intel markets that at. So some people may have that in a computer. Well, Micron recently acquired Intel's portion of the company. We became 100% Micron. Now, that worked out really good until, as you're finding out, you guys are business students, right? Finding out that sometimes businesses make decisions based off their future and what the future looks like for their product line. And Micron determined that the product that we make today, which is for Intel, doesn't fit their future roadmap. So they opted to sell our site. So our site is being sold right now to Texas Instruments, where we're going to make a new product, which actually is going to be mostly in the automotive industry. It's a pretty neat product, and Texas Instruments is a very old semiconductor company. We're excited about that change for us, and it's pretty cool. So we're Micron today. Maybe the next time we see you, we will have a different shirt on.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and there'll be a new shingle at the front of our building. I thought I had some slides in here on our outside our building and inside, but they might be further down.
they got taken out. They weren't in there.
Okay,
So,
taken out. There we go. Do you want to introduce yourself?
yeah,
Should we
so,
go down the next slide, Russ?
let me introduce myself while I'm up here. Now, obviously, I'm not Australian, so I have a different accent. I'm actually a Utah native. Anybody from Utah? A couple people are actually from Utah. I went to Hillcrest High School, go Huskies, and I graduated from Alta High when it was a brand new school. Go Hawks, right? So anybody from those schools here? Go Hawks. Go Hawks, okay. We got one Hawk. All right, well, that's good. Well, the reason I bring that up is because when you graduate school, you really never know where you're gonna go. You've got this kind of, maybe this plan. One of the things that I learned early on in life was that you can have a great plan. Life gets in the way of a really good plan. You got to be flexible and you got to be able to change. Vanessa said her career path's not linear. Well, I don't know anybody whose is. My career path is definitely a non-linear path. But after high school, I actually joined the Marine Corps, and I've been subjected to the best, most effective brainwashing you can ever do to somebody. So the Marine Corps has that dialed down, and so they have a saying, it's once a Marine, always a Marine, and I cannot deny that. And Vanessa's husband is a Marine, and so she's aware of that mindset. So love the career. I actually love that. I was part of a new career field in the Marine Corps, and I was sent to some special schools in Tennessee where we started this new technology. It was called deceptive electronic countermeasures. And what we were trying to do was keep our airplanes alive that were doing stuff that were pretending to the Cold War, which really never happened. And they were pretty effective. And so really, we never did anything, and none of that ever happened. But our planes came back alive, and our pilots came back alive, and the technology was fun. And that started me down my career path of wanting to work in the technology field. So after there, I ended up at Hercules Aerospace in Magna. Anybody remember Hercules? It's not Hercules anymore. This was my dream job. Everybody from Utah said, "This is great, Sam, you're gonna love it." They have a great pension, a great company, and I worked there for 2 years, and I absolutely enjoyed it. What a great introduction it was to all this new technology, automation, and I got to work with 1,800 gallons of nitroglycerin in it. Tell me that's not fun. Pretty cool, right? It's scary too. You have to wear electrically conductive shoes. There's all these safety protocols. It was really fun. And at the time, in about 1991, we were introducing a brand new launch vehicle we were developing for the government. And it was really great. And here's the importance of engineering. Something went wrong in the engineering design. Our test firing of our Titan IV missile, our deep space launch vehicle, blew up on the launch pad. And it leveled the facility. Nonlinear career path. A company cannot sell a launch vehicle which does not work. So there was about 1,700 of us or so that got laid off shortly thereafter. And I found myself as a young man with a new baby and a mortgage. And I wondered what the heck I'm going to do. This was the economy was horrible at the time. Inflation was 20-something%. You could go get a loan for 20-something percent, 22, Federal Reserve rate. Anyway, life was challenging. A friend of mine said, "Hey, Sam, I know we work on planes and stuff in the military. You really got to go check out Delta Airlines." So I was lucky enough, I got hired by Delta Airlines, but I wasn't lucky enough to stay here. So I went back down to Texas, and I was a Texas person, lived just outside of Dallas, in a town there. Anyway, so great career there. Did 15 years at Delta Airlines. It had some ups and downs. We had a 9/11 occur after 9/11. Of course, the industry went through a lot of hardships, a lot of new rules, a lot of things happened there that are outside my control. But ended up really kind of changing my career. I reached a point that I was spending a lot of time trying to keep my team happy. And all of my energy was going there, and it was affecting me personally. And so I decided, Sam, it's time for career change. At that time, joint venture was coming on, with Intel and Micron, and I jumped on that bandwagon and says, I gotta be a part of that. That is the coolest thing we're gonna do in Utah for a long time. And so I've been there, love that, and had a great career. I had a great opportunity. For many years, I was a hiring manager for both the dry etch area, the process area, and also the fab support area. Loved it, a lot of fun. And the thing I really love about it is I get to help young people, mostly new college graduates, start on their careers. And it's it sounds, I don't know what you think about being a hiring manager, but it's a lot of heavy weight. It really is. Because the future of the company, the future of your team, is based off of the decision you make today of hiring a new person. A new person can destroy your team, or they can be that missing piece that elevates you to the next level. A lot of pressure, a lot of work that goes into being a great hiring manager. So I put a lot of emphasis in trying to get the right people for our team. But also it's very rewarding when you get to watch somebody join and start their career. You watch them progress. And now many of the people I hired are actually managers at the company as well. Which is ironic because no, I'm not a manager. I actually decided I wanted to become an individual contributor so I could spend more time working on outreach programs, doing this, talking to students. And I spent a fair amount of time working with UVU. I'm the president of their advisory board for their School of Engineering and Technology. And I work closely here with Salt Lake Community College as well, which is fun. I really enjoy it. And I love being able to give back because I was that young person trying to figure out what to do next. So anything that I can do to help out, love doing that. That's pretty good. Other than that, the last bullet there on my slide there is that I am a great statistic. I don't Facebook, I don't Twitter, I don't do any of that stuff. It's bad for your psyche. But I link it. Because one of the things I've learned through the years is no matter where you're working, you've got to maintain you in a marketable condition. Who's going to want to buy you or employ you if you're not marketable? So through all these years, all the careers that I've done, one of the things that I've always tried to do is maintain myself in up-to-date technology and the latest things so that if life happens, I can market myself and minimize that disruption to my life. So that's why I love here supporting Vanessa in this effort. When I started my career, there was no such thing as the internet. We looked for jobs in the newspaper, and the Deseret News and the Salt Lake Tribune was the only resource we had. And it's very different now. Now you can get bombarded with job offers or job openings. So now how do you separate yourself from the noise? And Vanessa's got some great information. She's a pro at this. I'm going to take notes because I might have to market myself. You never know. But she's great. So I'm going to step aside. I'll leave this to Vanessa. She's the expert.
Thanks, Sam. Well, that was awesome. Great job in all of these areas as well. I love working with him. I love working with him to hire. My background's recruiting, so we've been on panels together. We go out and we speak together, which is awesome. I'm going to stand over here. I'm sorry, Russell. I'm moving around the place.
Okay.
We might move down to my intro, and then I'm going to stand over here. Is that all right? I just want to be closer to you all.
I think it was backwards before Sam's.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, who guessed that I was an Aussie? Or as you're walking going, oh, I wonder if she's English. Yeah, I'm Aussie, totally Australian. Like Sam served in the Marine Corps. We don't have a Marine Corps in Australia, but I did serve with the Australian Army for 23 years. So if anyone in the room here, anyone here serving or has served before? I mean, Sam, thank you or thank your families if you're connected to military. My first career, I worked in the railway industry. Railway, you call it rail? What do you call it here? Rail? And probably around about your age is when I started and then progressed through to an executive level in about 10 years. And I progressed up to leading a team of 350 people that work on board long distance passenger trains. You know, the ones that have those little sleeping berths and people knock on the door and they bring you breakfast and stuff. So I managed crew who worked on the trains. I absolutely loved it and did that for about 4 years. And I went, I've done enough, I've achieved enough now. It was pretty exhausting. It was 6 days a week on call all the time. And then I just went, do you know what? I think I'm just going to go to film school. So I went to film school and became a filmmaker, worked in the Australian film and TV industry for about, I don't know, a good chunk of time after that. But all through my career, I've been in recruiting. I recruited in the military for 15 years. I recruited commandos, Green Berets. And I love that concept of being able to learn about people's goals and the things that they're interested in, being able to connect them to dream jobs and career paths. Nothing better than that. It's nothing better than seeing team members walk down the spine that you've hired and they love their job. So you can always get that sort of advice from us and many other people that work in hiring and recruiting. What brought me to America? Crikey, I never thought in my life that I would ever be living away from Australia, from Sydney, Australia. And you just met the love of my life and it brought me to America back in 2009. We're in Hawaii for 10 years before I moved here 3 years ago to join the IM Flash team, now Micron, soon to be Texas Instruments. And when I was at home, I had my one and only darling son about 11 years ago, and I wanted to be at home with him as a baby. So I actually started a couple of businesses that I did from home. I love solving problems. I'm not an engineer, but I love solving problems and I like coming up with solutions to just practical things. So I reinvented the flat cap so that one size hat would fit the newborn baby all the way up to a big adult size man's head. It's pretty awesome. Henry Hats of Hawaii I created. And like Sam, I love giving back. So any opportunity to come and talk to students who are getting ready to graduate, prepare for their next career, so I'm all over it. Thanks, Russell. So that's a little bit about me. And if you haven't guessed, I'm a bit of a LinkedIn nerd. So I wanted to ask, who's actually on LinkedIn? Show of hands. You got a profile on LinkedIn? Awesome. So keep your hand up if you have more than 100 connections. Okay. Anyone have over 500 connections? Okay. Anyone at 1,000? Okay. Excellent. What I'd like to do, I'm going to show you a live hack later on. So if you have LinkedIn on your phone, that's great. If you don't, maybe you want to download it to your phone now. I'm going to show you something really cool at the end. Thanks, Russell. There's my questions there. Has anyone here actually used LinkedIn to get any strategic results yet? You got an interview out of it, you got a business connection, you got a job offer, connecting with industry leaders. Okay, wow, we might have to come back and do another whole hour on LinkedIn. Okay, thanks, Russell. Okay, why LinkedIn? Why is it important? Okay, well, there's like, I don't know, probably more than 700 million people across the globe on it now. 20 countries, I think something like 20 languages. It's a professional branding platform, right? So it's not like your Facebook and your Instagram. They're a bit more social. This is about doing business. You actually can do business with people across the globe with LinkedIn. I have about 30,000 connections. And for a long time when I was in Hawaii, I worked from home as a consultant. All my business came from LinkedIn. I was doing business with people all around the globe. I'd never met them, but they trusted me based on my content, based on the things that I was doing, based on the recommendations that people have written about me. So you can do business on this platform. You can generate business, you can generate leads, you can absolutely reach out to hiring decision makers without even knowing them. I've interviewed plenty of people, and like one pops to mind. I interviewed a person for a job up at our Manassas, Virginia facility. And I remember him saying, oh, just so happy to hear from Micron that you're interviewing me. I can't believe it. I had all these companies targeted at my checklist, but I sent a message out to a Micron director and he responded to me within 3 minutes. Now Micron's at the top of my list of companies. You can actually find, target and engage with hiring decision makers. And don't be afraid to reach out to directors and CEOs and HR directors. Open. Just make sure that you've got a good, a good profile that represents who you are and what your talent is, and that it's sharp and that you're proud of it. Bingo. It's about trust, right? LinkedIn's the place that allows you to curate your career portfolio. 10 years ago, I was saying, resumes aren't needed anymore. They're a bit defunct. If your LinkedIn profile is sharp and complete and represents you and your brand, that should be your primary branding and marketing tool. No need to even do a resume. We might not even talk about resumes today because we're running out of time. So I'm going to skip over all those things and spend more time talking to you about how you can leverage LinkedIn to be your primary branding platform. A lot of people don't even realize that you can generate a PDF of your content on LinkedIn that's better than any DIY resume you're going to do yourself. Right? So you make that profile complete, you can export it as PDF, upload it to a job board, or just use LinkedIn as that application, right? You don't need a resume if you're using LinkedIn as that job board. But you can also upload that PDF to an email and send it off to people, and it looks way sharper. I've got some pictures of it down there later to show you. I want you to start thinking about shifting your mindset. Like, who's on Facebook and Instagram? You're probably using those social platforms a little bit. I want you to shift your mindset a little bit more now as you're thinking about LinkedIn. And I don't want you to think about it as a social media platform. It's a professional networking platform, right? So I want you to shift your mind from connecting with friends and people you know on social channels to connecting with industry leaders, industry professionals, and grow your network with those people, right? So think about LinkedIn as professional connections and not friends. You don't need to know them to connect and engage and do business with them. Well, you don't need to have met them, right? You don't need to have met them face to face to do business. And I already talked about targeting hiring decision makers. Sam talked a little bit about, hiring teams and a lot of work going into it. I want to give you a little bit of a snapshot of what it's like in the life of a recruiter as well, because I want you to have that in the back of your mind. So many times people go, I sent all these resumes off to this company and I just got ghosted and nobody ever gets back to me, and what do I do? And it's not about throwing spaghetti on the wall, right? Your job search should be purposeful, targeted, strategic. Plan it. Plan the companies that interest you. Have a list of them. Start with 10. Google them. Look at what they're doing in the community. Look at the things that they're doing that you care about to get your list of companies. They might come to a career fair here and you've got your list and you mark them all off after you've met them and go, yeah, there's my top 5, right? Get from 15 down to your top 5 or your top 3. And then start growing your network with people that work there. But I always say, even though I'm a recruiter, I say, I go around recruiters, like I go, avoid the HR gatekeepers, because recruiters are so busy. That's why you should target the decision makers. Because the decision makers, if they're impressed with you, they'll let the recruiters know they want to meet you, for starters, right? But I'll tell you a little bit about what recruiters' workloads are like now. We post a job on Micron's job board. We probably have 200 applicants within minutes. By the time the position closes, we probably have 300, 400, 500 candidates, depending on the job. That's massive, right? We use applicant tracking systems to match those resumes, those candidates, keywords in their resumes, we match them to the job description and the other parameters that we put in it. Because we just don't have time to go through 500 resumes. We don't have time. But we'll probably skim off, depending if we're hiring 1 or 2 or 3 of those roles, we'll probably skim off the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 who have the highest value keyword match, right? And then we'll get those off to hiring decision makers like Sam. So the words you use are really important. And then your strategy around being purposeful. Like one resume for this job is not going to be the same as that one over there. And just having one resume that you put out to 40, 50 different jobs is just a waste of your time. But 3 or 4 targeted, optimized, purposeful resumes designed for the company and the jobs that you're targeting is worth your time. And then actually targeting people who are decision makers at those companies and engaging with them. Just simple messages. Hi, Sam. Remember me? I remember you when you came and spoke to Salt Lake Community College Business School. in October. I just wanted to reach out and connect with you. And here's my resume in case you're looking to hire it. Doesn't have to be, like, keep it short, simple, 3 lines, 3-line introduction, start a conversation. You only need to do that exchange about 3 times before you're really starting to develop trust with somebody or a conversation. And they might go, hey, let's book a 5-minute phone call. Or I'm coming out to Salt Lake Community College next week. Let's grab a bite to eat or something like that, okay? That's a great way to start engaging and creating these good relationships. Okay, thanks, Russell. Okay, LinkedIn is a massive platform. It does so many things. You know, initially it started off, people thought it was like that digital resume for executives and stuff, right? It came out about the same time as Facebook, and it was considered like the resume platform for executives. Now, today, it is massive. It is professional branding platform. It's a publication platform. It's a networking platform. It's a learning platform. If you didn't know, there's probably something like 1,300 courses on there that you can do. I don't know if Salt Lake Community College have access to that, but it's wonderful courses on there you can do. And once you do the course, it'll update your profile and say that you've got this certification. You can also do quizzes on there. So the quizzes validate this skill, right? They test the skill. And that's really trusted now among recruiters. We're only going to cover off a little bit about LinkedIn today, just talk about branding basics, because you'll get some good tips now to elevate your profile. Thanks, Russell. So when you're thinking about elevating your profile or creating it or completing it, I want you to think about telling your career story. What is it that you've done? What is it that you have to offer? And don't leave out all the great stuff that you do in the communities. If you're volunteering, if you're doing extra things at school, like absolutely include all of those things, because they'll often fill talent gaps, right? The volunteering work that you do. I want you to think about defining your expertise, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that around optimization in a minute. But if you were to think about the top 5 things that you're best at, what are the words that define that talent or that skill or that expertise? You could just jot them down now. I'm going to show you how to search the value of those so that you know if it's good value word. When I say high value keywords, a lot of people don't even put skills in LinkedIn. That's the best opportunity to feature all these things that you're good at. And when we're headhunting talent, so you'll think you're out there applying for jobs, right? We've got recruiters behind the scenes headhunting for people like you. So we're searching these platforms, right, all the time. And that PDF that I told you about on LinkedIn, I can download your PDF now on LinkedIn if you're on there without you even knowing. I don't have to be connected to you to download a PDF and print off a whole bunch of them that I might send off to Sam, and I go, hey Sam, give me a sense, like, do these candidates fit what you're looking for? And if you like them, I'll go chase them. I'll go get them. I'll go headhunt them. So we do that a lot, right? But if you don't have the right words in the right fields, right number of times, how are you ever going to get found for this talent that you've got? Right? It's SEO, search engine optimization. Just like when you want to buy a TV and you want to find the best TV, we want to find the best talent. What are the words we're using to find you? That's what I want you to think about, okay? And most people don't even put in the skills, let alone leverage that there are 50 skills that you can put in LinkedIn. High value keywords. So hiring manager will come, they go, there's a job description, but here's the things that I'm really looking for. And if they've got that, like, I want to see them. If they've got this and they've got that, I want to see them. And I'll literally print off or look on the screen at these LinkedIn skills, and I'll go, haven't got that because they probably forgot to enter it. They only put 5 skills in. So this is really important if you want to get found for, even if it's a niche capability, if you've got some unique talent, like you're, I don't know, collect coins or something, we want someone who's collecting, like, just sometimes it's the quirky things, the nerdy things that you do that you love that add that extra bit of uniqueness about you that might just get you found for your dream job. Your endorsements actually validate that you got these skills. So once you've added the skills, then you want to be proactive about getting the endorsements, the validation. If 50 people say you're great at business marketing, I'm going to trust it as a recruiter. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can say you've got whatever talent you want, but if people in your industry are validating that talent, then I trust it. If people in your network, so for people that only have 20 or 30 people in your network validates for me what you're saying is true, right? If you're connected with 300 people in a similar industry or environment or organization that you're in, you're going to be more honest with what you're writing, right? Because that network kind of validates truth about it. I had some dude send me a connection request from New York saying that he's a social media influencer and you have 40 connections on LinkedIn. I go, right? Don't trust it. Your network, the size of your network is part of that validation, right? So don't be afraid to grow your network with everyone here in this room, everyone in the classes, all the faculty members that you meet, all the people that come and speak to you. You know, at least you don't have to know them to have had dinner with them or something, but there's a connection there, right? Or you're all studying at Salt Lake Community College, so it's quite fine to grow your network with other students. You don't have to have met them, right? To grow your network. Seek some recommendations if you've worked on projects with people, if you've done some volunteering work, if you've done some great assignments, like just reach out and ask people to give you a recommendation. It doesn't have to be a page, 3 lines. You might even write it yourself and go, hey, I took the liberty of just sketching out a little bit of a recommendation based on the project we worked on together, and I'm wondering if you might just cut and paste it on LinkedIn. Busy people don't always have time to do these. Make it easy for busy people to nominate you. If you get some kind of school report or something, there's a glowing recommendation or something, just cut and paste it, send it to the person, say, hey, would you put that on LinkedIn for me? If you get compliments and stuff, think about getting them on here and curating it here, right? Curating it in LinkedIn. Okay, you got to complete your profile. You're not going to come anywhere on searches when headhunters are looking for you and recruiters are looking for you. You're not coming anywhere on searches unless you've completed your profile. And once you get over 1,000, magic starts happening. You'll start dominating a whole lot more searches when your network's big. And you've got to actually be active on here, right? So one of the questions I had earlier is like, how often do you even access LinkedIn? Who accesses it daily? Good. Who accesses it weekly? Good. Any longer than that? Every 2 months, every 3 months or something? I can't tell you how many times I've found people on LinkedIn and go, oh, they're perfect for what we're looking for. And I'll send them a message on LinkedIn and like to actually do an interview with them. And I don't hear back from them for about 3 months. Dude, like that was filled in the first week, right? You miss opportunities if you're not checking in. And when I show you a little bit later what recruiters see when we're using LinkedIn to find you, you need to be at least checking in once a week or once every 2 weeks at max, because that gets you higher up on the searches, okay? Especially as you're entering this job search time. And you should be ready to go 6 months before you're graduating. Have your network formed that you can activate, have all your branding tools lined up so that at, 5 months, 4 months, you're already engaging and you're doing interviews, right? It can probably be a month or 2 months before you even get a call for an interview once you start your job search. Don't leave it till when you graduate. Crikey. Crikey, you should be starting job search 6 months before you get out so that all of these things you set in place get activated when you're ready to activate them. And then don't forget that LinkedIn's a publishing site. Like if you're doing good papers or good projects, you're doing your own research on something, write something on it. It's like literally the articles are like an executive blog, right? Use it for that. You can get found for your talent just by writing a couple of articles. Write 3 articles, 350 words and an image, boom, got a blog. You can be found from anywhere in the world based on that talent that you're talking about or presenting. Thanks, Russell. Okay, so whether you like it or not, you're being Googled. 2 billion names are Googled every single day. So whether you like it or not, you're being searched. So when people find you, what do they see and are you proud of it? And if you haven't Googled yourself lately, you need to. Thanks, Russell. And you need to, because what if there's someone out there that shares your name in an orange jumpsuit? That happens. You've just wrecked any opportunity for your online reputation. Like literally people are searching, right? Recruiters, hiring managers, HR man, we're searching. And if the content that we find about you, whether it's you or not, we're going to assume it's you. We see one thing negative, we're not searching any more than that. You're off the list. You're gone, right? Even if that's some crazy pictures on Facebook or whatever, right? So Google yourself, Google Images, YouTube. 35% of your generation are not getting hired because of mistaken identity. Bad online presence that's not even you, someone who shares your name. Isn't that alarming? So if that's the case for you, you've got to differentiate yourself from those people. You've got to create a brand that clearly, definitely differentiates you from the people that share your identity. And if that happens, if you've got people out there in orange jumpsuits who share your name, just give me a call. We'll work on a strategy to kind of rectify that. It happens, I'm telling you. Thanks, Russell. So talking about the network size, I think aim for 500 and then just catch your breath. Once you're over 500, it'll show 500 plus, means that you're savvy on LinkedIn. It means that you've got a good sized network. Remember that network validates who you are, right? And what your talent is and stuff. And then I'd aim for 1,000 straight after that. Particularly if you're thinking about getting into leadership. The average CEOs and leaders on LinkedIn have about 930 connections. So if your goal is to get into leadership roles, which I think you'd all fast track through leadership roles, I'd be aiming for 1,000. And then depending on what you do after that, if you're influencing an audience, if you're recruiting, you'd want like 5,000, something like that. We already talked about the people that you should target. Thanks, Russell. We might move on a little bit more. Okay, here's some of the other things I think you should start thinking about getting ready in your branding toolkit, right? So we talked about that audit of your online reputation. That's really critical. And at least you'll know what's out there so that you need to, then you'll find out what you need to rectify, have a strategy for, or the gap that you need to fill, right? Don't freak out if there's stuff on the internet that is about you that you're not happy with. The best way to fix that is just by creating good content, right? So when people Google you, if you have a LinkedIn profile, you will come up top of Google searches. So that's getting people to what you want them to see about you, right? And then curate your brand from there. And just creating content will never look at the bad content that's out there on you. If it's out there, good content pushes all that stuff way down there, right? Get it down to page 200 of a Google search. It'll never get found again. You don't need to scrub it unless it's pretty bad. You could get it scrubbed. It costs a lot of money. Go through ethical hackers for that. You've probably got something schooled here. Your email address is really important. A lot of people don't even think about it, but I ain't, as a recruiter, I ain't getting back to anyone that has, I don't know, hotkitty@hotmail.com, knuckle dragging grunt at yahoo.com. Like, they're out there. Your email needs to be professional. It needs to align with your brand. The name on your resume needs to match with the name on your LinkedIn, needs to match the name on your business card. Consistency, okay? Go with a Gmail. If you're on a Hotmail, a Yahoo, an AOL, a lot of applicant tracking systems, I can't even email you from those. So they've lost all their security. Keep them to stay connected with your family and friends, but don't use it as your job search email. A lot of tracking systems won't even be able to email you back. Okay? And they're a little bit outdated. Doesn't tell me that you're tech savvy if you're using a Hotmail. You got to have a voicemail and you got to check it. You don't want to be getting a message from a recruiter for an interview 3 weeks afterward. And the other thing is that I want to know that I've got you. I want to know I've got Sam Duncan, right? So you've got to have a voice message there. Make it upbeat. Got 5 minutes to go. Okay, I'm going to tell you, you don't need business cards anymore. The live hack we're going to do is going to show you something really cool that replaces that. I want you to think about if you've got job fairs coming up or interviews coming up or opportunities to meet hiring decision makers. I want you to think about how you're going to introduce yourself. We call it an elevator pitch, and you probably talk about them in class. You probably have people come in to speak to you. But when, you know, when we go to career fairs, like there'll be thousands and thousands of people there. Some students wait an hour or an hour and a half in a line to talk with a Micron recruiter. I kid you not, right? You don't want to get to that top of the line and go, oh, hi, so what sort of jobs are available? Or when I say, hey, so tell me a little bit about you. What's your talent? What are you doing? You go, well, I grew up in Utah. Like you got to have your introduction right down pat, practiced, ready to go, a couple of ones, so that you can tell people about who you are, what your talent is, like succinctly. Never stand in a line to meet a company and not know what they do by the time you get there. Every company that comes to your career fairs, you have a list of them. You should be doing your due diligence. You should be researching them. You should know who they are, what they do, where they're located. Why would you waste your time not having that research done? And by the time you get there, you go, oh, I can't tell you how excited I am to meet Micron. So I've already found the perfect job for me, and I've applied for it at Utah, Boise, and Virginia, because I'll go anywhere in the world to work with Micron. Then we go, what? We're putting asterisks, red stickers on your resume. We're following up with you. We're taking you out to dinner, right? That night, when you come across like that to a recruiter. I talked about having your companies research them. I'm telling you about this. Write this down, jobscan.co. By the way, you can have access to these slides as well. Jobscan.co is one of the best platforms out. It's an English company. Shame America don't have it yet, but you can drop your resume and a job description in this platform and it'll give you a complete keyword analysis. So when I talk about purposeful, optimized, high value keywords in your resume, it's given you the list there. Like literally, if you've studied all of these things, or maybe what you've studied's got a different name and you use the word, you know, that the company's using, you want to align your talents with what the company's advertising. You get those words in your resume, you're going to be starting to pop up higher in those applicant trackings, okay? So this is going to, the job scan's going to give you that really valuable insight and matching, okay? Oh, so much about resumes. We might kick it on a little bit. Russell, can we just scroll down a few? Because I want to talk about, yeah, that's resume stuff. Let's go down a little bit further. Okay, stop there. When I talk about high value keywords that define your field of expertise, and I said, think about the top 5 skills that you got, your expertise. I want you to leverage this headline on LinkedIn. 120 characters, remember that, 120. Fill it up with high value keywords. This is the most valuable field in the whole world if you want to get found for your talent and your skills, okay? Business is probably like 49 million, like business, your business students, you want to have business in somewhere. So that's really important. There's no way you want to have no photo, no high value keywords defining your expertise, no background banner. What a lost opportunity to brand yourself. Those 3 things are critical, right? And the photo, I bet you take headshots here. I bet there's opportunities to take professional business portraits here, or get in contact with the photography students or the digital marketing students and get them to take photos at lunchtime or something, right? Your photo needs to be head and shoulders. We need to see your eyes and your smile. If we don't see your eyes and your smile, we don't trust you. No sunglasses, no tilted heads. Don't be cropping out people from the wedding that you just were dressed up as. No. That's a selfie. I took that with my phone in my home office as a selfie. Everyone's got a portrait app on their smartphone now. There's no reason why you shouldn't have a nice photo with a bit of a blurred background. Cool. Thanks, Russell. Okay, you gotta customize your URL. This is the next thing that you need to do. It simplifies it, it just makes it easier to find you. So the name on your resume needs to match the name on your LinkedIn, needs to match the name on your business card, match the name on your URL. We call it a vanity URL. It's tailored for you. And that's where you change it, right? You go into edit your profile, up here into the top right, it'll bring you over to a place here where you can edit your URL like an email. It's unique to you. That's how you set yourself apart from everybody else who shares your name on LinkedIn. And you give them that URL and you give them, this is my name on here, right? That's me. Sets you apart from everyone else that shares your name. Thanks, Russell. Okay, strategic optimization dominates searches. We've got like 2 minutes left, haven't we? Can we go down a little bit? Okay. Here's how I get the value. If I put in the word engineer, it's going to give me results. If I search people with engineer, 29 million. High value keyword. Next one, Russell. Electrical engineer, 4 million. Not as high value, right? Next one, Russell. 41 million. Engineering. I'd probably use that word. High value, more people are using it, more likely to get found, okay? Use that sort of strategy to, when you define your expertise, work out the value of it. And then use those words to define what you do. Now, I want to show you, this is the fields you need to have these high value keywords in. I said, right words, right fields, right number of times. If you don't have the high value keywords that define your expertise in these areas, you're not going to dominate searches for it. It's SEO, right? Russell, thanks. Now, I'm going to show you what recruiters see at the other end. First off, I want you to signal to recruiters that you're ready for new opportunities. From this edit page, you check on that. Next screen, Russell. And it'll bring you to an area where you can put your preferences in. What are the job titles looking for? What locations? What salary range? What else you're looking for? And then, I don't like it, but it'll give you that green thing around your head, right? And that'll let recruiters know that you're open to new opportunities. And then you've got to check LinkedIn. Just check in on it once a week, okay? And then you'll start getting higher up in searches. Thanks, Russell. Next one. And I want to show you why. Next one. Okay. If I'm looking for a chemical engineer, now you don't see this, like companies pay a lot of money to have access to this. This is what LinkedIn call the talent solution. This is what recruiters and headhunters are using. You're looking for jobs, they're looking for you, right? If I put in chemical engineer, it's going to show me total candidates. More likely to respond, why is that? So we go from nearly a million down to a quarter. Why? Because you checked in, because you checked LinkedIn. Look at that. It's already setting you apart. Open to new opportunities. They've flicked the box. They've got the green thing around their head. They're following our company. Look at you going from nearly a million down to 2,500. Still not good enough though. Next one, Russell. Why? If I go chemical engineer Salt Lake City now, look at where I'm getting down to. More manageable numbers to look at, right? But look at how many students have missed out on this opportunity. So many, because they're not using the right keywords, right? Next one, Russell. Look at that. If I put chemical engineer Salt Lake City who went to the U, I've really narrowed down my search a whole lot more. I'd actually probably reach out, send a message to 33 of them. Or I'd at least open those, I'd skim through that 33 and I'd probably pick my top 5, 10, 15, depending on what they've got. Gone from nearly a million down to this number because of a few things that if you know about and you do, you're going to get in that area there, right? Make sense? Really important to know. High value keywords. Thanks, Russell. We're right on the knocker, aren't we? Can I go down again? There's so many other things that I could tell you about today, but I know you have to go at 10 too. So, Russell, we might just go right down the end and just put up our contact details for anyone to get in contact with. That's the printout from LinkedIn, by the way. Doesn't that look better than probably the resume you're trying to fumble around Word to create? Yeah. They all look the same. What I say to you when you're working on your resume, what's going to make me pull it out of a pile of 100 on my desk and go, whoa, that's pretty cool. Is there anything on your resume that's going to make me do that? Or is it just the same as everyone else's? You have an opportunity to set yourself apart. So many ways you can make your resume unique, right? You can go and create a new Word document and you can put in resume and there's all these templates there that are fancier than probably what you're dabbling with now. You could take it to a whole new level. You could buy one for $30 on Etsy or Pinterest or something like that. You could Google unique resumes, right? If you're going to do a resume, unique resume, you get some templates. So there's tons of ways of making your resume stand out. But that's pretty good. If you finish your LinkedIn, you can have a resume that looks like that you can actually use. Thanks, Russell. And then I create QR codes. QR code monkey, make sure that there's always QR codes on resumes to get back to LinkedIn, which is more information. And then I think we're done, Russell. I think the next one, summary, do that. Oh, have we got time to do a life hack? No time to leave. On LinkedIn, when in your search bar, hit that, and it'll bring up your own live QR code. You can either scan someone's or create your own. So that's a great way to stay connected with people, okay? And then the last one is the end. There.
Vanessa's contact info. Connect with her on LinkedIn.
Sorry to keep you all late, everyone. You can scan that, it'll take you straight to LinkedIn.
No link mine down. We want to thank our speakers. No one's got something for you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you.
speaking with us.
Thank you so much. Oh, that is so lovely. Thank you. Beautifully presented, y'all.
Appreciate you guys coming.
Thank you.
I can stay around for a little bit of time if anybody has any questions as well. And then just get out there and be active on LinkedIn, y'all. Okay. Okay. Thanks for your time today. That was fun. Did y'all get something out of it? Did you learn a few new tips and tricks?
Yes.
Yeah. Good.